Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Thursday, the 29th of July. Reading in Acts 16, we have the story of Paul and Silas at Philippi. They start a church and things are going well until there's opposition, as it there inevitably is in their story, and they end up in prison. In the middle of the night, there's an earthquake, and the doors of the prison break open, and the prisoners are released. But they wait for the jailer, and he comes and is amazed that they're still there, and so thankful that they haven't all gone running off. And we pick up the story. The jailer falls at Paul and Silas' feet and says, "Sir, what must I do to be saved?" They replied, "Believe in the Lord Jesus, and you will be saved, you and your household." Then they spoke the word of the Lord to him and to all the others in his house. At that hour of the night, the jailer took them, washed their wounds. Then immediately he and all his household were baptized. Now the earthquake happened at midnight, so this was probably sort of 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And I've never thought of it before, but suddenly today the penny dropped. It's a kind of self-evident thing that's only self-evident when you actually see it. The earthquake that we read about must have affected the whole city. And no doubt if the prison was broken, there's a whole lot of stuff crashing about the place in the people's house. And they were awake as well, and they were not going back to sleep. This was a crisis that they'd woken up in the midst of. And in the midst of the crisis, Paul and Silas can speak about God and Jesus' love and reorientate them and say there is hope, there is eternity, there's something, and they are converted. And it struck me that so often it is in crisis times that people stop and think. Up to that point, we just get on with life, and you go to bed and you wake up in the morning and it's all perfectly normal, perfectly natural. You just do what needs to happen, and we live it with complacent reality of the day until a crisis comes. And then suddenly we stop and ask questions. What's it all about? Why are we here? What does life mean? What are my priorities? What should I be doing? And it's at that point that the gospel carries particular weight. And we've seen that during this time of COVID, as life has been completely disrupted. People have turned and started thinking again about the meaning of their life. And so I pray that when you find yourself in crisis, step back and ask those big questions and look to God for the answer. Clearly, the Philippian jailer and his entire family found the answer there. And when you know of other people in crisis, hold them in prayer, and they too will begin asking those questions and find the truth in Jesus, and that Jesus is the answer. So as we go through life, appreciate the complacent times, but when the crisis comes, ask the questions and encourage others to ask them as well.